We three kings of Orient are, bearing gifts we traverse afar, field and fountain, moor and mountain, following yonder star. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect love. Oh, thou King of Bethlehem's reign, oh, thy reign to come in again, King forever, ceasing never, over us all to reign. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. Glorious thou, behold him arise, King and God and sacrifice. Hallelujah, hallelujah, saints to the earth and skies. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light.
Everyone, please remain standing. We will greet Herod the Great this way. He will always be addressed as Herod the Great. Don't just call him Herod. There were other Herods. This is Herod the Great. If you find while you're standing, and as his cortege is dead people, but as his procession is passing through, please, if you could slightly kneel so that your head is not higher than Herod the Great's head. We will greet him this way: Herod the Great, Herod the Great, Herod the Great. Hail, Herod the Great. You got it? 3 Herod the Greats, 1 hail, 1 more Herod the Great. All together now. Here we go. Herod the Great. Herod the Great. Herod the Great. Let's try again. 3, did I miss one? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Herod the Great. Herod the Great. Herod the Great. Herod the Great. Oh, we're just doing Herod the Great. 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 Herod the Great.
Herod the Great! 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 Herod the Great!
I am here today to speak to you about one of the darker days in my kingdom, the kingdom of the great Herod.
Herod the Great.
I would warn you, you must acknowledge the great Herod, or you will find yourself in the room I like to call the Hall of Heads. Please, my subjects, be seated. My name is Herod, King Herod, and I was called Herod the Great, and with good reason. I was made the king by Mark Antony, the Caesar of the day. He was the son of the great Caesar, Julius. I was the king of Judea for 37 years. And it was during my reign as the king that we remodeled the second temple. We remodeled it so much so that afterwards they refer to it as Herod's temple. Maybe you go to Jerusalem. You see the Wailing Wall that the Jews have today. That is Herod's temple. I was the king, and I was made king by the Senate, the Roman Senate. They declared me to be the king. Also, I have 2,000 foot soldiers as my attendants. Also, the great Herod the Great, was a ruthless man. And it's okay. Because I have to have taxes, many taxes. I put a heavy burden on the people. Because if you make building that lasts 100, 1,000 years, it costs a lot of money. Also, I must have support in my kingdom. Every kingdom must have support by the majority of people. I do things that some people they don't like. But I try to appeal to the majority. For example, I built this great temple area. I expanded the lot so that many people could come to worship at the temple. The Pharisees, they don't like it. But so be it. After I have the building complete and the grounds complete, we need more priests. Because we have more people coming to the temple to worship. I bring them in from far places away around my kingdom. The Sadducees, they don't like it. But so be it. And it is true. During my kingdom, there were many people who had to be removed, including my wife, including members of my family. There was a saying, they say, it is better to be Herod's pig than to be his son. And perhaps it's true. Because I, as a Jew, I would never kill a pig. But anyone who messes with the reign of the great Herod must be removed. Now, toward the end of my kingdom, there was an incident. Maybe you know, maybe you heard about the incident. There were these foreigners. They come to our city. They're looking for the king. Were they looking for me? No. They look for a king who just been born. Now, let me tell you, that these foreigners, it was easy to tell they were not from here. They did not dress like anybody else in the city. They wore the turbans, they rode on the camels, they had a large group of people that followed them around. It was also easy to see that they had been on the road a long time, because their clothes were so dusty. And they speak with a strange accent. Oh, we could understand them. But they say they look for the King of the Jews. But I remind you, there is only one king.
Herod the Great! Herod the Great! Herod the Great!
I was, when I heard these foreigners, as you might imagine, disturbed. No, I was angry. I was so angry, I almost sent my soldiers to kill these foreigners and anyone who would listen to them. But no, I calmed myself because I say, these seekers, these foreigners, they are not the problem. The problem is anyone who would be king, who would take my rightful place as the king of the Jews. Now, these foreigners, they come to Jerusalem, and I think this makes some sense because they are looking for the Jews. And Jerusalem is the capital of where the Jews live. And when these foreigners come, they ask the people where he born, this king of the Jews. And they think everybody will know the answer to their question. Because they think everybody has already gone to worship, to honor the king of the Jews. But of course, nobody, no answer to their question. It started to make the people crazy. So, thinking fast, because that is what I do, I think to myself, they are looking for a religious answer. So, I decide I bring in the religious leaders, you know, the religious idiots. You can tell them. They think they're so smart, they're smug in all of their ways, they wear fake little smiles. You know the ones. I bring them in, and I say, we have meeting. And I say to the religious guys, I say, let us suppose that there is one who's going to be the king of the Jews. And let us suppose he come to our area. Now, where would this one be born? I could not believe it. The religious leaders, they have an answer. They say, Bethlehem. He is going to be born in the Bethlehem. And I think to myself, what? That little cow town just north of us? The one that have more cows and sheep than people? Maybe you know the town like this. I have something over these guys because I have real power. But these religious guys, they don't have any. So I say to them, we keep the answer and our meeting to ourselves. We don't tell anyone. It's no good for the political process. And they understand what I say. But I know what I need to know. And then it come to me, the perfect plan. I will use these foreigners, and there will be no more king of the Jews, only the King Herod.
Herod the Great! Herod the Great! Herod the Great!
It's okay. I put up these foreigners for the night. Now, they did not want to stay in our town, but I convinced them. I say to them, you must get some rest. After all, you're going to see the King of the Jews. And I have to buy some time. because I could not tell them where he is. I did not know. But now, after I talk to religious leaders, I know the answer to their question. So the next day, I called them in. I put on my nice face because I'm going to make agreement with these foreigners. And I invite them in. We have the common courtesy. I ask them, how was your rest? Were you able to get the dust out of your clothes? Did my people water the camels? And then I say to them, now, we make deal. For my part, I tell you where the king is. You go, you worship him, you do whatever it is you need to do. For your part, you come back and tell me how the king is. And in that way, we don't interfere with each other. And then when you come back, I can go and I can worship and honor him myself. Only, we don't tell anybody. Because we don't want to stir up the masses of the people. We don't want a stampede of people all going to see the King of the Jews. We want to create no scene. They agree. They agree with me. However, they don't leave until that night. It seemed they only travel at the night. Something about their guidance system, it only works at night. The next day, I called my guys in and I sent them to follow these foreigners. I say, we want to know exactly where is this king of the Jews. Because we are going to use, I think you say, smart bomb. We're going to take out a very specific target. Our plan is to remove the king of the Jews. So, a couple of days later, my advisors, they come back to me and they say something was right. Because these foreigner guys, they don't take the freeway from the Bethlehem to Jerusalem. They take the highway to go back out into the desert. These dust-infested, double-crossing camel jockeys break our deal. There will be no smart bomb. Kill them all. Now I remind you, it is not these foreigners that we are concerned about. I remember they tell me they first see their magic star guidance system maybe 1 year ago. And so I say, we make no errors. We make no mistakes. We kill all the boys in the town, 2 years old and under. We kill them all. I sent my best enforcer to take care of the job. Now, I know it's a pleasant task to do, but who cares? It's only Bethlehem. Who cares? And we only killed about 24 boys. Sure, there was some crying. There was some wailing from the mothers. It's a normal response, but who cares? The only thing that matters is that there is only one king of the Jews. Now, after this, I hear no more about the king of the Jews. Some people tell me later, maybe we don't get the kid we were looking for, but it doesn't matter because no more discussion about the King of the Jews. And now, I must tell you, it was not long after the King of the Jews incident before I died. Yes, there were other Herods who came along, but none other were called Herod the Great. But I tell you, death, it changed your perspective. I know my perspective was changed. I realized I had been fighting against the God the whole time. I tried to set everything up so that it goes for me, my way, and all of the time I discover I'm fighting against the God himself. When these foreigners, they come because God directs them. They come to Jerusalem because God brings them there. And even when I try to divert them, to use them for my purposes, the God bring them to the baby and then send them home the other way. When I try to kill the boys, the God go ahead and he removed the Holy Family before anything happened. My rage was predicted by the God 700 years before I get angry. Fighting against God? No. You will not find fulfillment in fighting against God. So I ask you, are you fighting against the God? Does he want you to do something, but you try to manipulate the situation and change it for your own personal gain? I, as king, I only consider myself all day, every day, what is best for King Herod. I tell you, don't do it. You must take some time this winter season in the quiet and say, am I walking with the God? Or am I fighting against him? In every kingdom, it is important that the people promote the agenda of the king. I know that. I want you to know that. You must be people who will promote the agenda of the King of the Jews in your life and in the life of those around you. Because if you do not, you will be like me, fighting against the God. Attendants.
Herod the Great! 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 Jesus is 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 great!
There was only one true King of the Jews, and we are going to sing praises to him now about the crowns that he deserves as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Stand for